Hello. My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks.
And I'm James Maynard, otherwise known as the Songbird. I'm handling the chat tonight, so please chat with us, and I'll pass it on to Beth, and she can talk to you. And welcome to Lighting the Way, Beth Raps and Rocks.
Granny Raps and Rocks.
Yeah, Granny Raps and Rocks.
Same thing. So I'm delighted that you're with us tonight. I'd like to point out that when you chat with us, you have to chat with us live if you expect me to talk to you, because otherwise you're putting it in the chat, and then I'll chat with you back later. So anyway, now there we go. Now we're not fuzzy anymore. So tonight on Lighting the Way, I'm going to talk about what keeps you going. You know, wanting to be alive, fighting for life, struggling, and all that. And so what keeps you going? Wait a minute, I didn't finish the title. Enjoyment, faith, or engagement? And which matters most? So we're going to see what I'm going to, in this show, I'm going to talk about each one of those and what that consists of, and then I'm going to talk about which I think matters most, and I would love to hear from you about what you're doing to keep going in your life. And you may not agree with me about which matters most. So first I want to talk about how life is a struggle.
Well, hello. We've got a couple of comments already. One is from Catalina. Good evening. She sends a heart of love, and she sends musical notes and a wave of the hand. Hello. Tracy also says hello and sends caring.
Lovely. Hello to Catalina, and hello to Tracy and everybody else out there. So I want to say that, in my opinion, is not just my opinion, life is a struggle, which is kind of the way I open a book of mine called Living with Reality. And it is a struggle. I'm going to talk a little bit about the struggle. And so we need motivation to keep going, because it's not easy. I don't think anybody thinks that life is easy, although I don't know, there might be somebody. But, I can never say nobody or everybody, because there's always somebody who's going to disagree. But I wouldn't say there are too many who wouldn't agree. So, as I said, we need motivation to fight on. I've identified 3 broad categories of motivations. Enjoyment is one. Faith and optimism is kind of the second, and engagement is the third. So I'm going to talk about all of them, and then I'm going to talk about which matters most and what the problems are with each one of these motivations.
Good. I'd like to hear about it.
But first, thank you for being motivated to come on and join us tonight. We love it when you come. We love it when you come live and you can share with us. We love it when you come later and you can still share with us.
It sounds like they're practicing engagement.
That's right. So I'm sure, I'm asking this as a question, but I mean, it's hard to believe that the answer could be no. Have you ever thought about how difficult life really is? I mean, we have to contend with fear of all kinds, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
And fear we're not going to get our needs met, fears we're not going to be taken care of, and fears of loss, and so on. We also have to contend with disabilities. Many people are born or quickly develop or later in life develop physical disabilities, mental disabilities, emotional disabilities, spiritual disabilities. That makes life even more difficult, right? Many of us experience financial insecurity. Sometimes we have an outright lack of money. It's not just insecurity, it's like there's nothing there, right? Then we have health concerns. Some of us don't have a lot of health concerns when we're young. Some of us do. And everybody eventually gets health concerns. And then we have to face emotional losses. We have to face emotional abuse. We have to face violence.
We have another comment.
Yes.
Amy says, "Hi, Beth and James. I sure could use some help with feeling stronger to do many things."
Wonderful. Thank you, Amy. So I was saying we have to face violence. Sometimes it's right in the family. Sometimes it's in society. Sometimes it's war. Yeah. And people suffer through horrendous traumatic experiences. And now we're all facing climate insecurity. So nothing is the same. You know, what makes us feel confident and secure is when things are the way we expect them to be.
And Todd is here and says hi. Hello, Todd.
Hi.
Good to have you with us.
Thank you for being here. So now we have to face climate insecurity. Is it going to rain? Is it going to flood? Is it going to be drought? Is there going to be enough water for the crops?
Is it going to be wildfires?
Or is it going to be wildfires? And it is. It's, you know, if it's not this year, and it's going to be heat, and are you going to be dead? Oh my God, you live in the Pacific Northwest and you never thought you needed air conditioning, but now you do. Is it now? Some of us face overwork. A lot of people face overwork, right? Whether you're a woman taking care of kids and you're just stretched to the max, or you also have a job. So there's overwork, there's fatigue. There's worry about family members. Oh, it's not only worry about ourselves. You see, I'm talking about how difficult life is, what a struggle it is. We have to worry about our family, our parents. Who's going to take care of our parents, if we have any, when they're dead? Who's going to take care of us when we get old? What's going on with our children? Are they smoking, you know what? Are we? We've got physical pain to deal with. We have increasing infirmity, most of us, as we age, right? So then we get to fear old age. And then, just to top it off, we can fear death. I'm not saying we should, but, you know, we can be worrying about it. Oh my God, am I going to die? Am I going to die? I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And we can be facing disillusionment. I thought he was such a great guy. Whether it's a political figure or it's a personal figure. Anyway, I've just listed a whole bunch of reasons that life is a struggle, why it's so difficult. Everything you think is going to work out this way actually doesn't, right? So why bother? Why do you bother? So that's the topic of today's show, is to really look at why do we keep on when we have so many struggles and so much pain and so much fear. And well, first of all, I just want to say, before I get to the three biggies, some of us feel we have no choice, either for religious or legal reasons. We feel we have to continue living. Oh my God, I'm going to go to hell if I kill myself, right? Or, you know, right? So we maybe feel like we've got to continue living, and it's not because we want to be living. And a lot of older people go through this. It's like, oh God, I remember my mother saying constantly, why am I not dead yet? You know, my mother lived to almost 103 years old, and she lost her husband, I don't know, so many years before, 30 some odd years before, and she really didn't want to be here, but her body held out. See, other of us want to be here, but our bodies don't hold up, right? Anyway, so some of us fear death, so we have to stick around. This is another have to. And some of us are just too damn mad to die. Too ornery. Too like, no, I'm sticking around. But I'm talking about positive reasons to keep fighting for life and to keep coping with everything. And And I want to see if we can focus tonight on the positive motivations and build upon them. And so I am focusing on 3 major categories. I'm sure you're waiting. My God, what are they? Well, I've already said what they were. Okay, so they are enjoyment, faith and optimism,
and engagement.
And engagement. So let's take a look at enjoyment for a moment. And then we're going to see what the problems are, right? Because nothing ain't easy. Okay, I enjoy breakfast. So James says, "Hi, honey, it's time to get out of bed." I never want to get out of bed because I have tons of...
You have chronic fatigue, for one.
Yes, Todd said yes.
Oh, Elizabeth says, "Hello, great topic."
Thank
and
you.
Sends a heart of love.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you for the yes, Todd. So, so James says, breakfast. Don't let the toast get cold.
You want that hot toast with butter on it.
Right. So I better
Melted
get out
butter.
of it. So okay, that's enjoyment. We're talking about enjoyment. So I do enjoy breakfast, and so. But now breakfast, lunch, dinner, what's the problem with that? That's great. If you've got somebody who's making you breakfast, it's really great. But what about the people who don't have it? Well, I'm not going to say anything about those people. Somehow or other, I think we're not moving anymore. I don't know what's going back.
Nope, temporary.
Okay. Anyway, but if you start focusing on eating as being your motivation for life, right? You're in trouble. Why? Well, first of all, you may become obese and very uncomfortable physically, or you may start having horrible digestive issues, or you just may not feel well, or you feel embarrassed, or you're ashamed, or you kind of lose out on your life. It's like, is that really enough? Even though we try to use food? Oh, Todd said we're streaming just fine. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, Amy said that also. Your show looks just fine.
Okay, isn't that interesting? It's something disappeared here, but now it's here, and that's wonderful. Thank you. So, okay. So is food really enough? And what happens if you realize that you have to stop overeating? Then what have you got going for you? Well, okay. So there are other things that you might really enjoy, like music. Oh, yes. I love music. But after you've heard the same song 400 times, you may start feeling the need for some other kind of music, right? And then you're in search for it. And that's wonderful, but I'm not putting down music. But what happens when you're deaf? All of a sudden you're deaf, and now you don't have your music anymore. Everything is very vulnerable. You understand these things, and is listening to music really enough for you? For a whole life? Well, no. What about dancing? That could be enough. Okay, that's even harder because people dance. And then they reach a certain point and they can't dance anymore. Temporary. Making music. That can be temporary. You can be frustrated. You may not like the music you're doing. Nobody else likes it. Okay, going to a concert by your favorite band, watching the next episode of your favorite TV show. Are these things really enough? Making love with someone you love. Even that's vulnerable. How many of us at a certain age, and some of us is very young, lose the capacity to have sex? For health reasons, or emotional reasons, or we can't stand the person, or we're alone and we don't have anybody. Cuddling, that's good. course, your cuddle partner may go away or may not be in the cuddle mood, or you may be having an argument. You can play with your animals, you can play with your children. My point is, I hope you're getting my point. Everything is kind of tentative, temporary, and I don't want to put my whole life on pleasure. In fact, do we not believe, that people who focus on their self-centered pleasure get really corrupted as human beings, become sort of jaded? Then they start using more and more drugs because they have to heighten their experience. Like the natural experience isn't good enough, and now I have to listen to the bigger speakers and take more drugs and drink more alcohol, and now I'm an alcoholic, and oh my God, my guts and my health has gone down the tubes and all of that. So people, very wealthy people, aristocrats, people who just had money are often very sick people, right?
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because we have very wealthy people who go into politics or go into something. I think that tells you that pleasure is not enough. They're looking for something else. Well, now I'm going to get onto the other one. Now, if you're in that pleasure category, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just telling you what I see as a problem. Okay, now there's another motivation to keep on struggling is faith and optimism. Trust that things will get better for you. That keeps us going. It's like, I do a lot of, by the way, I do all of these things. I don't mean drinking and all that, but I have things from each category. Faith and optimism, trust that things will get better. Well, I'm going to tell you a little not secret. Ever since I've been a little girl, I have always believed that tomorrow will be better. It's always tomorrow. It's never today because I'm not that stupid. I know it's not going to get better today, but I think it's going to get better tomorrow. And of course, with aging, it's some ways things can get better, but in a lot of ways they actually keep getting worse. But no, I can't let go of the idea that tomorrow is going to get better, and that I actually believe that good things are going to happen for people that I care about, which is about anybody that I meet. And I anticipate social improvement for the poor, right? And for people who've been suffered from prejudice. Well, does that always happen? Do things always get better for the poor, for people who've been discriminated against? Do things always get better for me? Do things always get better for the people we care about? Not if they're living in this world. We may try to help them feel faith in the midst of all that, and that's very important to keep a positive attitude. But we can't pretend to ourselves, can we, that good things are always going to happen for us or other people. So, well, then we have another one, which is that spiritual belief that all is well, even if it doesn't feel that way. And that's a good way of rationalizing ourselves into continuing to live. Well, it looks terrible, but actually it's for your benefit. See, I always pull that one out on myself. Always, I cannot admit that things just suck. No. I always have to believe that this is really for my benefit, your benefit. It's all part of the evolution of consciousness. We're moving towards a better world. We're building a better world no matter how insane people are and how badly the climate is deteriorating and how much the animals are suffering and how much the insurance rates are going to skyrocket. Everything is fine. It's wonderful. It's great. So, because we're all in the hands of some... Okay, so what's with faith and optimism? I do that. I try. I do. But if that is the only thing I have going for me, I might be in trouble. Because it's so often doesn't seem to be happening. I want to believe that everybody is learning important lessons, but I see them doing the same thing over and 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 over, and then I do the same thing, and the people I know and love keep hurting themselves in the same way, putting needles in their arm, popping pills down their throat, overworking, hurting themselves, trying to look glamorous. I mean, what can I say? So faith and optimism are very helpful, but I don't want to count on that. So what have I got left?
Engagement.
Engagement. Okay, now what does that engagement look like? Well, it looks like helping others. Visiting someone I love. Bringing some cheer to them. Caring for pets. Caring for people. Gardening. Social or political activism. Supporting a cause. So all of these things are engagement. They do keep us going. I have something to do. I get up this morning. I have something to do. I have some reason to get out of bed and eat that delicious breakfast. I have a reason to ignore all my pain and say, yeah, I'm going to get out of bed. Well, there's another piece of this, but I'm going to tell you in a minute. So what's wrong with engagement? Well, nothing exactly.
Todd says that seems to be your biggest motivator.
Yes, it is. And Elizabeth
said, I thought James said vacation instead of engagement.
That's very funny. He meant engagement. He said engagement. Very funny, Elizabeth. No, I think that permanent vacation is like death, and Todd is laughing. So
Todd says that seems to be your biggest motivator.
That's right. It is. It is. So doing something is like, that's wonderful. But, and that can give you purpose. And it's like, okay, I have a reason to get up. I really do have a good reason. I'm going to get up. But what happens when I can't do the things, or when everything that I do turns to nothing? I go in there to save the poor. Bring consciousness to a planet that doesn't want it. Oh yeah, that is so fulfilling. So obviously we have to make it meaningful to us. We have to find a way to rationalize. Like, oh yes, whatever small thing that I do, it's helpful. Well, if it's true, whatever small thing you do is helpful, as a matter of fact. But here's the last point. And this is part of engagement. And that's why Todd has my number. For me, the number one reason to keep on going is believing that my life matters and that I make a difference, large or small, which is kind of related to the other engagement pieces, right? So let's say you're very, very wealthy and you decide you want to run for office, and you say, well, why? You have all the pleasure you want. You can have optimism, but you don't feel like you matter. And now you have to get votes. You have to have people in the bleachers screaming, whatever your name is.
Right.
And then you matter, right? Until you don't.
Uh-huh.
Until people stop voting for you, or they don't ever vote for you, or they vote for the next guy, or you end up in a nursing home and you can't do all those things anymore. Now what? Oh, we got a problem, Houston. Well, most of us can do something to feel like our lives matter. We can smile at the nurse. We can thank someone. We can help the person at the table where we're having dinner.
Blanquita says hello, Beth and James, and sends 2 hearts of love. Muchas gracias.
Oh, love, Blanquita.
Love to you, too.
So I'm going to tell myself that my life matters. And when the day comes that I feel like my life does not matter, then I think I'll look for an alternative. But until such time, I'm going to keep fighting like hell. I'm going to fight to matter. I'm going to fight to help. I'm going to fight to care. Yes, I want those pleasures. In the meantime, I want to listen to music. I want to make music. I wish I could dance. I'm going to trust that things are going to get better, even though they don't. And I'm going to keep that going, and I'm going to keep up the belief that this is all that we can advance. I want to keep that faith. I want to keep that optimism. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention one other reason for the faith and optimism is like, I'm curious, how is this all going to come? What's going to happen? What's going to happen in this election? Then, my stomach churns, and then I said, well, the next time around, they're going to get back in power, or they're going to get whatever. But I am going to really fight to matter, if to no one else but myself.
And you know what? Even if you're in a nursing home, you can engage with the other people, and you can have a curiosity about what will happen next. You can have all of these things going on, despite whatever physical limitations you have. There are those things available to you.
For some people.
For some people.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. Even in a nursing home, you can smile at somebody. The person who's taking care of you is probably tired on their feet and are ready to take a nap. Whereas you are sick of napping. Anyway, so that is my rap and rock on the topic of what keeps us going.
Yeah. What gets you going?
And what gets you going. And in the comments section after the show, put in your comment. Tell us what keeps you going, or tell us what you related to the most in what I said, or tell us if you didn't relate to anything. But something must be keeping you going. Because let me tell you, it's not that hard to die. Just walk in front of a truck. Just see how hard it is to die. So anyway, come back next Wednesday for another Lighting the Way, Granny Raps and Rocks, at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time. And come tomorrow night, every Thursday, for Magical Improvs, where we do music, which is one of the things that makes life worth living. And leave your comments, those of you who came afterwards, and I will respond to you. And like or love the show, and share it with other people. You never know. Somebody may be out there that and you don't realize how down they are and how much they need the message about how they can matter and make their lives feel worthwhile. We need that. We need to keep fighting the good fight, but first of all, we have to want to live. So with that, I guess I'll say bye-bye and invite you to come back next week. What do you think?
Yes. Happy to have you with us. Glad you have come. And bye-bye for now.
Bye.